actual history override, and what all the data which you see, right? That is
Yes, I
called as
saw where
history.
I saw where you could select what series you want to see. You have the option of selecting what series you want.
Yeah, yeah,
Blindly, I went to forecast, and in the forecast, you have a percentage, final forecast, or simulation. So the seeded series I selected, but I don't understand what they were. But I selected
yeah,
and I viewed the output.
yeah. You can classify the series into three types, right? Which is calculated series, which is getting calculated in the screen itself, more like a Excel formula. In the Excel we have formula, right? Uh, Based on two cells, the other cell gets populated. That is known as like a calculated series.
Mm-hmm.
And then next is user input series, where if it will be a editable series, and then user will enter the data. User will enter the data and then save it, and then it will get saved into the database. This is something called user input series. And then imported series is like you get the data from some other system, and then you import it to your database, and that is being shown in your worksheet, more like a history. You run the collection, and then history gets into TSRC sales DMPL, and then from there it gets into base sales table, and then sales data table, and then from there you see the data in worksheet. This is more like an imported series. User input series will be like some kind of a series, like a history adjusted history, or some you can see series called adjusted history. So that will be like a user input series. Calculated series is be like, so if there is no value in this series, and then if user is inputting any value to this series, then you can create a formula kind of thing. So if A is not A is null and B is available, then consider A. Some kind of formula you can do it. So that is called a calculated series. And then there are a different type of series, which is like sales series, which is like time dependent data for each and item location combination. Like you get a business requirement, right? There will be a monthly history which will be loaded, and then or a daily some numbers, forecast numbers, daily numbers, or a monthly numbers, which you get loaded, and that needs to be shown in a series. So it will be like a sales series, which is like a time dependent combination. So matrix series is something like for in irrespective of time dependent, like for each and item location, for each item and location, some attributes like uh, something like sales representative or something, sales representative for this product in this region. So he doesn't change he doesn't change with respect to time, right? So he will be like a person for uh, for this item, this location. This kind of information can be stored in a matrix series, matrix MDB matrix table. So sales series will be stored in sales data table, and then a matrix series will be stored in MDB matrix table.
Like if I give
Promote,
you an example, like we are storing the sales history of how many units we have shipped for this product, right?
yeah,
So in the metric series, it would be more like the customer address or something.
yeah,
And in
the
the
customer
sales
address.
series, I could have more like the quantity of how much I shipped.
Yeah. Matrix series will be like customer address is a good example. More like or some other thing, like whether this product is saleable in this region or not.
Okay.
something like that. So you have iPhone, right, which is 3 different versions of iPhone,
Mm-hmm.
3 different versions of Samsung phone. One is saleable in US version, and one is saleable in Indian version,
Mm-hmm.
something like that. So that kind of information, like whether this is
It is
one
not
example
dependent
for
on any data.
anytime,
Anytime. Okay.
time independent data.
Okay.
So it doesn't change every week, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you decide that this product is going to be sold only in US, then with respect to item location combination, and there is a flag yes or no.
Okay.
And then this is going to sold only in India, item location program. You don't change it every week, right? So that is like a matrix series.
Mm-hmm.
Promotion series is like you have, if you are running any promotions, and then this will be like a promotion series.
Okay.
And then level series is like um, so um, so you have a level, right? You have multiple levels, and then you have you need to show the level values in a worksheet as a series. Then we can use this level values as a series in worksheet, something like that. There we can use it as a level series.
I don't know. I didn't understand that.
No. Let me show that, right? Uh, Suppose you are having a level. You are aware what is a level, right? What is a level, and how level things work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Suppose you have a level, right? Item, and then product family,
Mm-hmm.
and then business group, like business group, and then company.
Okay.
Suppose you have ice cream, and then product group is like dairy business, and then which is like milk product business is like milk products, and then company name is Arun.
Okay.
Suppose this information which is in a level, this information is a level, right?
Mm-hmm.
Level in the sense you see it as you use it to aggregate and disaggregate the data.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have a series called history, and then date, right? So you have 11 for this data, 11 for this some date, and what is the history for this.
Now here, ice cream,
So
dairy, milk product, and all. What are those? I understand item product. Okay, you're saying that ice cream is
hierarchy,
item. Okay.
yeah, ice cream is the lowermost level,
Okay.
like
Got it. I understood. Understood.
yeah, dairy is that, and then this is like the higher level.
Okay.
So this is, if you are seeing this data, right,
Mm-hmm.
history as a data,
Mm-hmm.
and then if you want, right, so suppose you are maintaining two you are acquiring a new company, and then something like
Mm-hmm.
Hudson is also you are acquiring new company, and that data is also in this system.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have ice cream, dairy, milk product, Arun, and then and Hudson.
Mm-hmm.
These are two companies which has both the ice creams. So if you want a series called, if you want to create a series called company,
So you can see only for that okay.
Yeah. Instead of using a level, you can just use a series to populate just what are the values which are there in the level. Once you create a level is a aggregation. The same data, if you want to see it in a series, right, there we can use it.
Okay.
If you are not getting me, let me know. I can explain again.
No. So basically you're aggregating, you're filtering everything based on your levels of hierarchies.
Yeah.
One thing,
Suppose there
but
is
the
a
same, but the
requirement
same
like,
thing you can also see in the output if you want, if you put level in the series.
yeah, same thing. Well, there might be some requirement, right? See, I want to see everything in the lowermost level. I don't want to filter. I just need to export this data into some Excel sheet and then work on something like that. So if you want to bring this level into that series, then you can export it. This is more like a, like based on as and when you need,
Okay.
like a level series. Yeah. And then data type of the series, right? Your series can be of date or numbers or string, right? Date, numbers, or string.
Okay.
And then this is something very important which we might know, right? uh, there is something called expression in every series. When you create a series, you have something called expression, right? Which is, there are two type of expression. One is server expression and other is client expression.
Okay.
Server expression is more like a how the data is pulled from the database, right? Server expression is like how the data is pulled from database.
Mhm.
Let me show better word if they are using this slide. Okay, so this is server expression is basically an SQL query which is running in your database, and then data is shown
Mm-hmm.
in the worksheet. And then client expression is like are used to do the calculation on the fly, more like your Excel formula, right? So uh, in Excel you have some formula, right? If 3 and then 4, and then you get a formula like equal to of uh, this this, right? This is this expression, right? This formula is right.
Mm-hmm.
This is called this is similar to what you called as client expression, right? Server expression is something like here you put a formula, right? Sum of this column in the database, sales data table, uh, uh, something actual underscore quantity. This is the, you put like what is the prop database column, and then the database table name, and then the column name,
Mm-hmm.
and then you give the details. This is known as uh, server expression. Client expression is more like a on the fly, based on an other series and other two series you create a formula. This is called like a client expression.
Okay.
We'll see in detail, right? Right, what is it? So server expression is retrieving the data from the database, and it can be editable, right? It can be editable, and then it will aggregate and disaggregate the data at the lowest level. So client expression is like, it is computed based on other series. So if you have, it's like a formula, you based it on other series, and it is not editable, and then it is calculated on the fly, right? It is calculated on the fly. We'll see one example also, right?
Okay.
So in the client expression, suppose we have a series called total demand, and then the total demand will be like sum of independent demand plus dependent demand, right? You don't do this formula, or you don't calculate this formula in the database. In the client expression itself, you create this uh, formula, and whenever you open the worksheet, at that moment this calculation will execute, and then you will show the data.
Does
You
it
don't
store
need,
somewhere in the database, or it's just in
no,
some?
it doesn't store in the database.
Okay, so it is like for that session only it will show it.
Yeah.
And it
That
only whoever I like, if I open the worksheet only, I'll be able to see that.
yeah.
Can you give access or permission for others to also see that client expression?
Yeah.
Whoever.
Anyone who open the worksheet at any point in time, they will be able to see that.
Okay.
There is a separate process which is used to store this data to the database. By default, it doesn't show. There is a seeded program called BLE engine. So that will store this data to the database. So unless you run that program, it doesn't store the data to the database.
So when do they create like client expressions, which is like a one-time use or not regular?
Not one time use, more like a something like a adjustment, or something like whatever the data which user wants to see in the worksheet. Suppose
So in my example,
some scenario like you have the history, and then you
adjustment
have
history is there on series where they.
adjustment history is there, right?
Mhm.
And there will be one more series called final history.
Correct.
So if you adjust 100, then what is going to be your final? If you adjust it as 200, what is going to be your final?
Mm-hmm.
Or there might be one more thing, like adjust a final, and then there is some market input or something like that. If you give adjust as 100, and then market input is 200, and then in your final series you can give a formula like, if this is greater than 100, then consider this. This is less than 100, consider that. Some business scenarios, like where more like a Excel formula should be used.
So let's say I had an item and it gave me a forecast for the next 2 weeks of 100 quantity. But
Yeah.
then for some reason, based on seasonality and everything, I decided, okay, I may need more. So I adjust the history of adding another 20 to it. So my
Yeah.
final forecast will, based on the adjustment, it will add that and it will show, right? So whatever is the final forecast, that will get stored in the database as 120, but that 20 adjustment that I did, which is a client expression, will just stay there in the session for that worksheet, right?
Yes.
Okay. So when you create series, you have to select which kind of expression it is ahead of time.
Yeah. When you create a series, you need to define like which
Type you're selecting.
which type you are selecting. And then server expression, right? Server expression is like it is like a RDBMS SQL thing, right? You just need to identify the database column, and then using the database column, like if it branch data table, and then actual underscore quantity is the table. So if you are giving actual underscore quantity, right, then it will show like whatever the data which is there in your database, that you can show it in the server expression. Some average, max, min, any SQL function you can use it. And then
do you have access to in your PC Demantra where you can log in and show?
yeah, I have an access to a system. Let me, yeah, after this PPT, I'll show
Okay,
that.
okay.
And next one is edit lag series, right? Suppose something like you have a series called you have forecast override, right? And then every Friday you publish forecast to ASCP.
Mm-hmm.
And then once they publish the forecast to ACP, and then you don't want the user anymore to update that series,
Okay.
or some kind of like, if it is already approved, then this editable series, right, whatever you are adjusting the forecast, that should not become editable,
Okay.
more like a locking the edit, right?
Okay.
So that is where you have called edit lock series. So you create a lock so that if the forecast is already approved, the consensus forecast approved is equal to 1, then you no more allow it to edit. If the condition is
So is
2, the
that only
same.
for client or even if it is for the server? Can you edit
It
server series, server expression series?
yeah, we can edit server expression series. Only client expression series we cannot edit, because client expression is just like a formula, right?
Correct.
You don't have a editable. It is like a formula. So you cannot enter some value in this thing, right?
So when you say editable, if one of the series is final forecast and if it is showing as 100, I can overwrite that value to 110 if I have.
No. Final forecast will not. Final forecast will be typically client expression. It will be having a forecast which is generated by system, and then you have adjusted forecast. Adjusted forecast will be something like you make it editable, and then final will be like, if there is any adjustment, you consider adjustment. If not, you consider the forecast, right?
So not
Like,
every
no. Let me show it as an example. You have forecast, you have adjustment, and then you have final.
okay.
Final, you have 1, and then it will be 1. You have 1, and then 2, it will be 2. If you have 0, 2, it will be
Two.
2.
Mhm.
So here this is a editable series. Okay, it will have only server expression. So whatever adjustment you do, right, it will be stored in a database.
Okay.
And this is the forecast which is generated by the engine program,
Mm-hmm.
right? Engine program will generate this forecast, and this will be like a client expression. So if there is a adjustment, then adjustment,
Forecast.
adjustment, else else FCST,
Okay.
something like that. There will be some formula here used by this thing. So this will be like a editable series, and then whatever you edit here, it will be dynamically shown in this series.
Okay.
So your question, like, so this series is editable and this series is not
How
editable.
about a forecast?
Forecast will be not editable, right? So this is something which got generated by the system. So it is just, yeah.
Okay.
And then suppose for edit log in the sense, right, suppose you have something like forecast cutoff. There is one forecast cutoff or forecast approval. Someone approve that forecast, like approve that forecast, and then approve flag is like 1 is approved and then 2 is not approved. Suppose if they are approving the forecast, here we can write one edit log expression, right? So if this forecast, this series, right, if approval equal to 1, right, this is like a condition, if approval equal to 1.
Okay.
So if it is already approved, then this series will not allow to edit.
Okay.
So the editable option, right, in the series, it will become gray out or something like that.
Okay.
It will become gray out, so that they won't be able to edit it. This is more like to adjust this, handle this kind of scenario.
Where you set up that
Yeah.
editable, not editable?
Yeah. In the business modeler, in the series, you have the third tab, like data expression properties. So, and then there you can define that.
Okay.
I think after this I'll go through that lab document. We'll quickly finish in 5 minutes and then I'll show that in the lab. And then after edit log, next is like color expression. Suppose you have a recommend, right?
Series that you create, right? Different series based on the business requirement. To what level you can do? You can only add formulas, or you can put in some procedure which does some calculation, manipulation. At to what level?
No. Only to the level of taking the data from the table. Right, you have some data in the table, you can take it, sum, average, everything, this kind of SQL functions, or you can use another series to do calculation. Only typical SQL function can be used, sum, average, min, max. You have the function decode, and then all these things. You cannot put run PL/SQL something and all here.
Got it. So it's not a big thing where maybe way how business wants to see something, you just add or multiply or do some simple functions. Okay.
Yeah. You cannot make other thing. Usually some average, min, max. These are the ones which are being used.
Okay.
And then color expression is something like if you have forecast greater than 1 million, some random number gets generated, then you want to highlight in red or something like that.
Oh, okay.
That one you can define in the color expression.
Okay.
And then how the series works, how the series is getting created in Demantra. In the business modeler, I'll log into VPN and then I'll show one example.
Okay.
And then next important thing is like aggregation and then disaggregation of data, right?
Okay.
Suppose this is quite important concept. Let me first explain that. Whenever you create a series, right, you need to define aggregation and disaggregation parameters whenever you create the series. it is proportional or not proportional. Let me explain with an example, like what is proportional and not proportional, right? So this is like a series for Singapore, and these are the 4 items, and then these are the forecast. For Seattle, these are the 4 items, and these are the forecast. And then you have for every item, whatever is the total demand, for our whatever is the total demand, total, and then you have a proportion gets created, right, for everything. It all works internally in the system. You don't see that, right? Just to show how it works, right? That's why I'm explaining this. So for every item there is a proportionality. So this is like 0.2 of total, and this is 0.36 of total, and this is 0.44 of total.
Where we got 250? Oh, the total for of all the items.
Yeah. In this distribution subtle, what is the total item? Suppose at the higher level, you can create, you can see the worksheet at different hierarchies, different levels, right? You can see the data at item level. You can see the data at the organization level.
Correct.
So if you are adjusting the forecast at organization level as 1,000, just as 1,000, and then it has to split to all these 3 items, right? So at the end of the day, data sits at the lowermost level.
Oh, okay.
So how it will split to these 3 items? So for that they use this proportion. Suppose if you are having a series called budget series, and then you are just overriding it as 1,000 at a higher level, and then whatever is the proportion, right? So using proportionality, it will allocate to 200 for this, 360 for this, and 440 for this.
Okay.
So whenever you create a series, like a editable series, you need to define if whether it is proportional or not. If you are making it as not proportional, right? If it is making it as not proportional, it will just split equally.
Oh, okay.
If you are making it as proportional, you need to show like you need to define like on basis of which series you need to divide the values. So you need to define like forecast series. Based on forecast series, you divide the values. So that you need to define in the while creating the forecast.
Oh.
So okay, let me quickly get into my VPN, and then I'll show that. Usually for this business modeler, they will install it in remote desktop, like they will have some remote desktop to access the business modeler. So since from our PC, if we access it will be very slow.
Okay.
So just to check with your TBA if they can give access to any remote desktop where they have installed the
Business
business
model.
model.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because from the local, when I tried to click the business modeler icon, it says you don't have access. So I'll ask the DBA, what is the credentials and how do I access it?
Yeah, don't try to access this from this desktop. So it will be very slow. So try to get the business modeler access. So this is where in the exercises you will find that like configure series, and then this is configure series, and then you can create a new series by clicking this new icon. And then in the first flag, in the first tab, you define whether it is editable or not. Let me, instead of using this thing, I'll show whatever I have already. Uh, this, yeah. Yeah, this is something like first, if you create a new, this will be the first thing. And then, right, you create, give the series name, and then internal name, and then digital name is just like that value, it will get stored in the database. And whether period, right, whether this series should have records in the history or forecast. If you select only history, only the previous buckets, right, from will have the entries in that database. If it is forecast, it will be like the future. It will be shown in the future time period in the worksheets. And then history and forecast, then it will be shown both in previous and the future.
Okay.
Yeah. And then next is like in worksheet you have table, graph, everything, right? Whether you want to show this series in both in table and graph, or you want to show it only in the graph.
Okay.
Then if it is only in the graph, like which color it should be shown, it should be in red color or green color, something like that. And then width of the series, so how much width you need to show. And then display format, right? So if it is 0.00 or 000, or you have, if you have a date, means if you are date related series, then you have multiple dates, Indian dates and then US dates. And then if you have a recommend, right, some link should be shown as a series, just like some string, then you can use this thing. And this thing.
Okay.
So yeah, this is like summary at if you are seeing the data at a higher level, right? It should be like a sum, or it should be like a minimum, maximum, average. So that need that has to be selected in this function actually.
Okay.
Next is like suppose you have a requirement, right, just to drop down kind of series, yes or no, drop down or yes or no, then you can create a list like
So far, still
with
haven't told what the calculation is, right? Like on what value it has to calculate. What?
yeah, that will be there in
Okay.
data and then expression.
Okay. Got it.
Suppose if you have a series requirement, like user will select yes or no in their worksheet and then save it. Based on yes or no, you will write a code to pull the data and push it to some other system.
Okay.
So you can create a series with a drop down as list, and then you can add yes,
Values. Okay.
yes, yes, and then okay, sorry. it has to be one, and then it will be yes, and then if it is 2, it will be no, and then if you select next, I just you can use this for some cases like where you have a condition like yes or no or some kind of a drop down, right? If it is using in a drop down, you cannot show it in graph, right? It has to be only in a table.
Okay.
So it has to be table. That's what the error it was showing when I tried to save it. Yeah. And then data properties, in the sense, what is the data table, right? Where the data will store for this item, for this series. So whether which is the table in the backend, whether it is a matrix table or it is a sales data table or some other table, like you have a level tables and multiple tables. So where the data is going to be stored. If it is time dependent, it is good to be keep it in sales data. If it is time independent, you can create it in a MDB matrix table.
Okay.
And then this is what I told about proportionality, right? So if you are adjusting the history at higher level, if you are this is history override, right? If it are adjusting the history on higher level, it has to split based on a different series to allocate that, right? So let me show that PPT which I showed, if you remember. So if so it is, if you are putting 1000, it is splitting it to it is splitting. If you are adjusting budget it as 1000 at higher level, it is splitting into these numbers, right? So where this is where we define like where this adjustment is where this proportionality is getting stored, like based on which series you need to split the data, like proportionality. And then next is like server expression is like from this table, and then you need to pull this data from this table, and then this is the column, like NVL of this table into this table, right? This is the server expression.
Okay.
And then client expression is like, suppose if there is this is more like if there is history override, if there is current row is equal to forecast first row, and then if history override is not equal to actual shipment quantity, and then history override is null, then show it in red color.
Okay.
This is like a, I think some ASCII code or something. I think if we click here, you will get that code. If you select this and then say okay, then it will populate that code actually.
Okay.
This is something which they are really they will use very rarely, but this project they are using all the color code, everything. Yeah.
And when you finish everything, then you will see this series and you can call that any of your worksheet, correct?
Yeah. You can suppose if you want some series not to be shown for some users, So in this project, in this company, they have China users and then US users separated. So these data should be visible only to the China, only to the US users. So China users shouldn't have any access
We
to
shouldn't
this.
even see the series.
They shouldn't even see the series. So whenever they create the user series, they just allow it only to these users. They restrict these users.
So users
So
are always in like in a group, like use I see here everywhere you are like in a group. Like what is this? Or is it individual user here?
it is individual user. They name the user name as like underscore SOP underscore SOP.
Okay.
Some
Then in my system, I'll check how they have defined.
yeah. So this is how like you create on series and then save it. And then once you create a series, you need to bounce your application.
Oh, okay.